Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm here with my friend Jadine. She's going to ask me a question and I'm going to reply and speak to you whilst also speaking to me, really, I suppose, about that. Take it away.
Okay, so from where you are standing now,
Mm-mm.
what guidance can you give a 19-year-old that you wish you had gotten at the time?
Wow. A 19-year-old me is a very different person. Um, 19-year-old me was a very misguided person, a very lost person. And I mean, 19 years is, you're a young person when you're 19. You're figuring out life. You've recently become an adult. I mean, I'm from the UK, so you've not long left school. I mean, that's, you're sort of like 16, 17, 18, that sort of age. Um, 19-year-old me. Um, there's a lot of advice I'd give. Um, cut out the drugs would be one of them. um, yeah, get better friends. I think, well, okay, I'll speak to that actually. That's something that is so important. The people who you surround yourself with is can truly make or break your life. Um, and that's not even to say, the people around you don't even have to be like these dastardly characters. They don't have to be like, evil incarnate to be, ruining your life without you realizing. It's the people who, you know, I mean, the concept of like fake friends, or the worst thing is when you've got a well, a quote unquote true friend who stabs you in the back. That's never fun. Um, the thing is with friends is that you choose to love and care for them, and when you put those rose tinted glasses on and you see these people not for who they are, but for who you've curated them to be. And I feel like that's a trap so many fall into, myself included. And it's all part of learning. Um, and I had to learn not to beat myself up about it. When I had people who turned their back on me, and that's not to say I was a saint. 19-year-old me, I wouldn't consider that person a quote unquote good person, or not a good person, just not doing good, healthy things, not treating people in the way that they should be treated. I using manipulation, things like this. Like I said, completely different person, and who you are and your actions will draw in the people around you who are going to be similar to you. So if you're someone in your life and you're sat there going, why am I always involved with drama? Why do I always get bad boyfriends or girlfriends? Why do people keep on mistreating me? Ultimately, it's probably because you're mistreating yourself, and that's the energy you're putting out there. And if if that's the light you're putting out, and the moths are naturally going to come gravitate towards that, down to your choices. That's probably what I would say to my younger self. One of the many things is to treat yourself better, and in turn others will treat you better, and the people you're scared of losing, let them go. The whole idea of when you change as a person, it's like a bad thing because your friends are like, well, friends, they're like, oh, you're changing, you used to do this, you used to do that, we used to hang out more. And it's like, well, yeah, but I'm actively doing healthier, better things for myself, and you're saying that that's ruining our friendship. Maybe that's because our friendship was rooted in bad, negative energy, negative interactions, you know, going around smoking whatever, stealing stuff. It's, you know, what part of that is good? I mean, chasing, I don't know, adrenaline, acceptance from a crowd that you shouldn't really be searching for. I mean, search for acceptance within yourself, not outside of yourself. You know, that's more advice I would give. um what else? Definitely practice awareness. Awareness can fix so many problems. I mean, how many times have you had conversations where, you know, you look back on an argument or an interaction with someone, and later on you learn a bit of information about that person. Maybe they were going through a breakup or a bad time or something in their life just completely blown up, and then you have an interaction with them. Either you're completely unaware, or you don't, or you are aware of what's going on in their life, but, you know, maybe you're a bit too self-centered, or you don't realize that what you're saying to that person is, one, not helping them at all. I know this is something I've done where, you know, it was very much my world. You know, why is everything going so wrong? Why do I keep on having this, you know, flurry of people who enter my life who seem to be great, and then, you know, you start to see cracks in the mask, and you go, oh, this person's not good for me. This person's not a good person. In fact, I don't like the effect they're having on me because I'm now doing things that I didn't think I would ever do. You know, 10-year-old me looking at 10-year-old me wouldn't be safe with a 19-year-old version of me, because like 19-year-old would be like, oh yeah, smoke what you want, you know, drink, do all this sort of stuff. That's not who I wanted to be as a kid. And obviously it's not to say that people can't, you know, find their way back or their way forward. I mean, I'm a testament, I have. So anyone can. I just think that, you know, I think awareness, you know, realizing your situation and why you feel the way you do, and realizing that, you know, you're not chasing drama because it's fun, it's so you can feel something, or you create chaos in your life to distract from what you really need to be looking into. You know, those voices that come up from inside, those emotions that bubble up. And so you create chaos in your physical life to distract, you know, keep your mind busy. Other advice I would give, I mean, outside of going to the gym more and eating healthier, treat people with more kindness. Don't let your fragile masculinity get involved with things that it just doesn't need to. I mean, this is, I mean, I'm sure this applies to women as well, with femininity and all that. But with guys, we can get so caught up in, you know, social expectations, and, you know, I mean, find that the only emotions that were okay to express at that age was like, you know, laughter, anger, but that's about it. apart from that, you're like meant to just be like neutral, you know, and that's very damaging, and again led to a lot of destructive habits, which again leads back to being involved with destructive people even. um, I'd also say that it always gets better. No matter what, it always gets better. You just got to keep on going, taking one step at a time. The amount of times in my life around that age where I thought, you know, life was pointless, it was all going to end. Um, you know, I'd lose friends, sometimes because of my own actions and own stupidity. But then, you know, I look back and I realise it was done for a purpose. It was, you know, I was being saved from situations and things that I couldn't see, only spirit could see. And although at the time, you know, it was one of the worst moments in my life, you know, spirit came in, plucked me out of that situation, and, you know, quite possibly saved, well, probably saved my life. Um, so yeah, I'd definitely say that. Um, hmm. Yeah, I think another thing, and I'll leave with this. I'll leave you all with this: is not to be hard on yourself. We're human beings, and you know, from the ages of 0 to 19, you go through so much. I mean, so much can happen in that time. You know, loved ones pass on. You know, you go through school. Everyone who goes through school has some form of experience that's probably negative. I mean, that's part of the human journey, I think. You know, there are bullies, you know, a teacher who's got an issue with you for some reason. You know, you couldn't quite get that bit of homework done, and you know, the teacher's having, you know, a bad day at home or something. They go to school and they're like, oh, I'm going to take it out on this child for no reason. um yeah, I mean, family stuff, you know, how that impacts you in your life. So if you can get through all of that, I mean, you can get to 19, you can get to 90. You know, you just got to keep on taking one step at a time and be kind to yourself. Nobody is perfect. You're constantly learning. Yeah. And I mean, most people are fortunate to have, you know, people who care about them. And I'd say be honest with people, share how you feel. Um, because, and I mean, even like things like getting a journal and writing stuff in a journal, that's some advice I'd give to my younger self. Because instead of bottling it all up, you know, again, feeding that anger and resentment and all this sort of stuff, you know, typical teenage angst. You know, writing in a journal, if you don't feel like you can speak to someone, could be the start of, you know, getting to that point where you're like, oh, maybe I can speak to someone now, or the journal becomes that someone you speak to, and you know, you're getting these emotions out. Yeah. So, I mean, I hope anything that I've said helps you, um, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Bless you all.